then he was like, so later in the year we're gonna put on a STEM pageant. And I want you to work with Naya on just, whatever she needed. And I told her I'll try to get some money for Coca-Cola. And you know how when you going somewhere, it's like when you going, let's say you're going to a resort, and you know it's gonna be nice, but then when you get there, you're like, whoa, it just blows you away. And that's kind of how it was when I went to the STEM pageant. I was like, okay, man, it blew me away. It blew me away how she set it up, and it then blew me away how because it was girls, how she motivated them and what they presented. Do we have that on video? No, somewhere?
We might.
I know the YouTube video, man. That is something. That was okay. From
Yeah.
Hey, it was because everybody had a project they were presenting. Now this was new. This was hey, can you present on the innovation that doesn't exist? It was great. It blew me away. Right. And so every since then I kind of
go ahead. Explain, yes. So I have a question on the floor. And everyone may not know what STEM is.
Okay. Yeah. Science, technology, engineering, and math. Right? It's STEM. So they were right delivering presentations on STEM projects. But it was amazing. Right? And I've been keeping in touch and just checking, making sure. I knew she was gonna be doing great things. But every now and then I just make sure, she was on track, and she is. So I'm gonna give you a little bit of her bio before we bring her up. So Nia McKenzie is Atlanta native, right? Graduated from Westlake High School, right here in South Fulton, in May of 2026. So very recently, she graduated from Spelman College with a bachelor's degree in environmental science. While at Spelman, she completed research internships with Stanford, Georgia Tech, and NASA. She was the youngest person appointed to the environmental committee for the city of South Fulton by Councilwoman, now Mayor, Carmelita Gomes. She also served as community service chair for the Epsilon Ada chapter of Sigma Gamma Rho Incorporated. As a Barnes Scholarship recipient, she has served over 2,071 hours with the West End community during her 4 years at Spelman. She is currently pursuing a Master's of Public Health with a concentration in environmental health at Emory University.
Yes.
She is a proud member of Ebenezer Baptist Church. Nia values creative solutions to underlying problems. In her previous experience, she has acquired a variety of skills from public speaking and presentations to coding. Her goal is to work as an environmental data scientist or analyst, within the federal government, exposing disparities in climate change adaptation. I bring to you and present to you all Nia McKenzie.
Thank you for that wonderful introduction. Appreciate it. Good evening, everyone. I would like to thank Silverleaf Baptist Church and Mr. Gaucher for inviting me to speak today. And I would like to thank all the youth here for hearing me out. Since my first year of high school, I walked by the senior hall portraits that were decked with college acceptances and scholarships from ceiling to floor. And I dreamed of getting my very own yard sign for being one of the top 25 students in my graduating class. So during my senior year of high school at Westlake, I was surrounded by an air of competitiveness. The senior portraits went up, and as college acceptances and 2 columns sprung down from most of the portraits in the hallway, mine bore only 1. And for most of the year, it didn't matter that it happened to be the only college that mattered to me. In April of 2022, that was the year I graduated, I had received 4 college acceptances and no significant scholarships. I was crushed when I didn't make the top 25. I had not received a merit scholarship for my top choice, Spelman. It seemed no matter how much work I did, none of it mattered. In the midst of my disappointing academic identity crisis, I was planning a scholarship pageant of my own. My principal, who I just found out also goes to church, my principal is Mr. Adams, had introduced Mr. Gaucher as a sponsor for my Miss STEM pageant. The Miss STEM pageant was a competition I hosted for junior and senior girls in my high school. Each contestant would present a STEM-based project that gave back to the community to a panel of judges. Planning the pageant as a senior still completing classes in high school was an overwhelming task, but I was determined to ensure my peers had a space to grow. Meanwhile, I applied to one final scholarship at Spelman, the Civic Scholar Program, my last hope of going to my dream school. The week of the pageant came and I was running around frantically, sending last minute emails, I was meeting my principal, printing judge sheets, meeting my advisor, completing tests, I was baking cinnamon rolls, I was in culinary class at the time, it was a big deal, there was a test, I had to look at the ice on it. But most of all, I was constantly checking the Spelman admissions GroupMe to see who had heard back about the scholarship. And all I was hearing about were devastating rejections. The night of the pageant, the doors were locked to my venue. I was late, and in my mind, all I could think about was the pending rejection from the scholarship. I went home satisfied how everything turned out, and I exhaled. I accepted my rejection, I closed the GroupMe, and I went to sleep. I woke up the next day very late, exhausted from the week. I groggily tumbled out of bed and grabbed my phone. I checked my notifications, and there it was, the email that changed my life. Dear Nia, we are pleased to inform you that you've been selected to join the Spelman Civic Scholars Program. It was sent at 3 a.m. that morning. God's time, not mine. I sprinted down the stairs for my dad. This is my mom and dad. My dad was sitting. I screamed, I got it! My family embraced me and we all shed a few tears. Whew, that was a close one. People say that Spelman is a pretty competitive place, but what I love about Spelman is how non-competitive it felt to me. Being there gave me the general stamp of smart black girl. I no longer had to prove it to anyone. I was a black girl disciplined. Finally, everyone was just as smart, just as beautiful, just as black as me. I saw it as an equalizer, not an arena I could kill it. I could relax a bit. It didn't matter if I was the smartest black girl. I was just glad to be on the squad, you know? Especially after how hard I fought for that spot. My scholarship would take me to many places as I completed my required 140 community service hours per semester. It would take me to Nashville, Tennessee to learn about food deserts and food banks. It would take me to elementary school classrooms where I would mentor my students and grade papers. And all before I scored my first research internship at Georgia Tech. There were several girls who went to Spelman at my internship, but their jobs at Georgia Tech were a little different. One day they added me to a group chat and invited me to eat pizza with them. We all work for NASA and a university leadership initiative, one told me. We're building a supersonic jet engine, the other one said. I was shocked. Working for NASA was one of my childhood dreams. I always thought it would likely never happen. But with a couple of recommendations from my Spelman sisters, in no time, I was presenting my Georgia Tech research project to the heads of the program. I was showing my climate equity research to people who worked at NASA and Boeing, all because my Spelman sisters wanted to pull me up instead of put me down. After a few more meetings with NASA, I was brought on as an intern, working on aviation emissions inventory codes and calibration burners. It was such a surreal experience. I will always be thankful for my older Spelman sisters who listened to my questions, taught me how to work in engineering lab because I had no idea what was going on, and gave me confidence to wear pink at my first research conference in San Francisco. And it's their advice that let me know that my presence and my voice in the world of climate research should never shrink. Because when I decide to shrink, the cares of my community shrink with me. Whenever I step into a room full of people unlike me, I become the family struggling with unclean water. I become the cancer patient in an area with unclean air. And God has sent me into that room to speak for them. After my first year at Spelman, I decided to focus my service hours on one particular But I was struggling a bit to figure out where that side would be, and I was kind of teetering on losing my scholarship. I ended up working as an administrative volunteer at an after school. I started in November of my sophomore year, a month before my 140 hours were due. And if I'm being honest, I kind of slacked off in every aspect of college. I was failing chemistry. I fall out of my friend group, and I did. And I had resigned from the officer position for a club on campus. But when the office manager, Ms. Tam, at the after school told me I could come in as a volunteer as soon as the next day, volunteering became the only thing I was motivated to do. When I wasn't in class, I was cutting bagels, I was tracking grades, doing attendance. Some days I worked an entire shift and left with the employees. But working at the after school poured into me. It gave me back some of the shine I was missing. It reignited the light in me. And when I missed a day, I just felt like I needed to be there. It fulfilled me in a way that working directly with the school system did not, and it reaffirmed my belief in the importance of education. One day, while I was putting in attendance, Ms. Tam asked me, well, what sorority are you pledging? I told her I was thinking about pledging Sigma Gamma Rho because of the historic grounding in education, but I wasn't sure because I was so busy that semester. Ms. Tam smacked her lips. Girl, let us know when you need a letter. I did become a member of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated that spring after submitting a letter of recommendation from the after school, and I was appointed as the community service chair for my chapter. My first initiative was a clothing drive for the after school children. What I'm getting at here is that every single win, accomplishment, new position, or internship is not just for you. It is an opportunity you've been granted to help someone else.
Amen.
You give back to give back to give back. That is how you should progress through life. There are no stepping stones, there are just stepping up stones. You are not just passing through. You are here to learn something new that you can teach someone else. Life is not a competition. No one really wins in the end. There's no limit on who can achieve happiness. So you should help everyone you can with an open heart and a malleable mind. When I was focused on competing with others, I did not meet my goals. But when I turned my sights on helping others, things I thought I would have to compete so hard for fell in place. I thought I would have to solve a Rubik's Cube and then orbit the Earth twice to work for NASA. But it turns out it was just as simple as being myself and being kind to my friends. And that's the lesson